Hog Radio. It is the JoJo show. And you know what, man, I am so psyched up about this next interview. I've been talking about it all week. We've been running in some airtime stuff. I've had people calling already, say, man, when's Bubba going to be on? I want to talk to Bubba. I got to talk to Bubba. I got Bubba stories. So, hey, guess who I have on the phone right now? Bubba.
Joe, how are you, my friend?
Great. Bubba the Love Sponge, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I shouldn't even have to introduce you, be honest.
Well, I mean, probably in some of your parts, people, well, no, I hate to be arrogant and cocky, but for the most part, people in Florida have heard about me, not necessarily in a good way, but they certainly know that I can be boogeyman in some instances.
They know, yes, they know. I mean, so we cover all Central Florida. You probably see some of our billboards down the road, no rap, no crap, and we got billboards all down the central, like I-4 corridor and some on 75, and so we have our listeners here. But you've worked with some huge stations. I've already had people calling me and say, hey, I got stories about Bubba. Some about some bus driver named Michelle said, hey, I want to call in. I want to talk to Bubba. So do you mind if we take some calls here in a little bit?
No, not at all, my friend.
Great,
I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. So first of all, I got to say this. Being a DJ, I know you started, from what my research on you started like in 86 in radio. Is that about correct?
Yeah, April 1st of 1986. So this past April Fool's Day was my 40th year in radio.
Wow, that's amazing. I started, believe it or not, in 85 in radio. Of course, I didn't get where you went. I did 5 years in radio. I worked for a bunch of stations in the Manatee County area, Sarasota. I worked for WSRZ, which is Z106. Did a lot of top 40 radio, did some AM stuff. So I was around for a while, got out of radio in 90, so I spent 5 years. That was back in the day spinning records, with
right.
cart machines. And, my thing back then, my inspirations like Q105. I was listening to Mason Dixon. I was listening to like John Anthony in the local area, and I was DJing at the same time. And then Ron and Ron came on. I remember Ron, and they were the first person I ever they were like, I would consider quote unquote shock jocks, right? And
right.
So I remember really liking the Ron and Ron thing. And then later, of course, you came out. But I want to get into a little bit. Were you kind of the same way as me when you got into? I got into radio because I liked hearing. I liked the music. I like being able to talk over the music and hitting just before they start singing. We call that post. So I like how they hit the post. I like how they fade the music underneath them. I like the energy. Did you get into it for that initially? You wanted to play the music and hit the post and talk, or there's another reason you got into radio?
Well, yeah, all of us in the talk show arena always, we all started, radio with the record aspect of it and playing. And I went through the top 40 route as well. My first station was 103 PFR in Terre Haute, Indiana, college town. And we were the only top 40 in town at the time.
Wow.
So we were kind of popular with, like the sorority chicks and people that went to the university. So, and so that, top 40 tends to skew women 18 to 34.
Yeah.
So as I started embarking upon being the night guy at 103 PFR, and with that comes, the request lines and you're hitting the post and you're doing Janet Jackson, Falco, Rock Me Amadeus, and
you're spinning. Like that, I'm back in time right now. You're spinning me back in time.
Yeah, exactly. Tears for Fears.
Yeah. So Bubba did that. So, were you Bubba then? Did you call yourself Bubba right away, or were you Todd Clem, or did you have some weird way to your name?
I was rocking Bubba Clem for like my first 2 years.
Rocking Bubba Clem.
Yeah. And then there's this very long story behind how I got the moniker Bubba the Love Sponge, which I hated at first. My buddy called me that, and I told him, "Don't you ever call me that again, it's stupid." But it ended up being kind of a gimmick, and so people, it's a play on words. It's probably one of the most unique names in radio, and so I then so I did top 40, and to be honest with you, selfishly, I really liked the attention. Here I am, I played a little bit of football.
Yeah. Are you there?
I was a star.
You kind of cut out. Okay. Yeah, you cut out for a second. You're back. Okay.
Okay, so but if you're the guy on the radio and in a small little college town playing top 40, you get a little bit of attention here and there with the females, and I was just completely enamored by that. I'm like, man, I'm a nobody that just turned into a little bit of a somebody. So, my whole entire career, I played records, but I started incorporating the shock element of it in probably 1989, and I was pretty good I was really good at the record and talking up the post and things like that aspect, that I quickly ascended from Terre Haute to Grand Rapids to San Antonio. Then I was B96 in Chicago within my fourth year of radio.
That's crazy.
And so, here you are, the third largest radio market. People in Chicago, different parts of the country treat their radio personalities different. Like in Chicago, if you're a radio personality, that's really a big deal. There's been some legendary, Fred Winston, Jonathan Brandmeier, WLS. There's been some huge radio personalities, and I kind of started joining that fray a little bit, and that's kind of was my first taste of really big timeness, if you will. And hell, in 1989, I'm in Chicago making like $105,000 a year, and I don't say that in a bragging type. I'm not saying that in a bragging type way. I'm just saying that in a here I am, 23 years old, and on that level, and it just really became, it just was very, humbling, if you will. And then when I finally got to Tampa and I started working for the legendary Power Pick,
right,
and that kind of ascended me into being more obnoxious and more scandalous and more shocky. And they noticed that for a top 40, I was garnering huge male numbers for a normally female skewing format. So not only did it, was I always continue to get the standard women 18 to 34, because that's what the top 40 tends to lead, but I was doing huge male numbers based on me being so controversial and doing No Panties Thursday.
Yeah, I do remember that.
lesbian Tuesdays and cool stuff like that. So they said, listen, the minute J-Core Communications in Tampa had bought a couple of more radio stations, one of which was 98 Rock, and they're like, listen, we're going to switch you over from playing records to being a talk show on a male skewing rock station. So I really started doing long form monologue, very much shock radio in December of 96 is when I first started that. And then, since that morphed into like 31 affiliates, and then I went to go work for Howard Stern for 6 years, and then now I still have 7 or 6 radio affiliates, but now I'm embraced the digital age where our Facebook and our YouTube and our X and our Rumble and our Bubba Army HQ.com. So our digital world now, and unfortunately, terrestrial radio, you need to do that, but you also need to establish a digital world too, because quite frankly, as a personality of 40 years and you of 41, terrestrial radio is a little at an uncertain crossroads right now as to, people in the new generation of young people that tend to listen to top 40 radio, terrestrial radio isn't necessarily their first choice.
Right.
They have Spotify and Pandora and Sirius and then anything that you can, so you basically have to deliver your content nowadays, not only through that terrestrial, antenna, but you also have to have a distribution mechanism digitally as well, whether it's an app or a website, or a Facebook page that can aggregate what you're doing terrestrially also on to a digital platform. And that's what I've done now. And I'm very fortunate and humbled to be doing, really, really well and able to make a living, have a staff and my own facilities. And I'm excited in that we were, 7 or 8 years ago, decided to go digital along with terrestrial. We do them both, but, our digital world is where we're going to end up, laying our head at night.
That's awesome. I heard you got a new studio, and Bubba, you're welcome to invite me to see it, because I'd love to see like a real cool studio. And it sounds like, I'm sure your studio's got to be awesome.
Yeah, it's I used for 15 years I had my own facility on Nassau Street in downtown Tampa, but it was and that was an all audio terrestrially syndicated facility, and now things you really have to pander to the visual world as well. So we've built really state-of-the-art television-like facilities.
Very cool.
Just north just north of Tampa, and we just started 2 weeks ago. So yeah, Joe. When things start settling down a little bit this summer, I'm traveling a little bit. I co-own Ocala Speedway. In Ocala,
right?
And so we got our summer racing program up there. But yeah, I'd love to. I don't know where are you based out of Lakeland?
I'm actually, the studio's here in Plant City. I'm from Tampa. I'm from Hillsborough Riverview area is where I'm from. So you're probably not too far from me. So
no, probably 20, maybe 25 minutes max. But yeah, I'd love to give you a tour one of these days.
Dude, I'd love it. Like you got my number. I've given you all my information. It would be an honor, man. Like I said, I've been listening to you for a long time, and that'd be great to actually see something like that. We do have some. I know we're going to open the phone lines here in a second. Anyone wants to talk? If you just joined the show, I'm live with Bubba the Love Sponge, and so if you can call in 863-225-2000 if you have something to say, I know someone called in earlier. The lines were actually blowing up earlier. I said, wait, he's not on yet. Somebody said they knew you, wanted to talk to you, and then I want to. While you're calling in 863-225-2000, I want to play this little clip. This is one of my funniest bits. One of the funniest things I thought ever. I still laugh at this, and I play it back. You'll remember this is like from 2017, back in the Calta Wars here. This was, I think, just funny.
That you got to dump it so nobody will hear him being a big pussy.
But, Gargiulo, we can put this on our Twitter, our Facebook, everywhere, BTLS.com. Us calling him live. We don't have to edit it.
This, I think, is just funny how you kept on playing him over and over here.
What he truly said. Thinking that we had to dump him and trying to, get us.
Oh, yeah. I remember he cussed or something. You had to dump it.
But I wonder if that's a thing. Yeah. If you're a broadcaster.
This is so funny.
You're knowing that you're being called live.
So basically, Bubba called Calta. They're in a war back in 2017.
Over another
and he's promised if he ever called him, he would immediately pick up the phone. And obviously he's not.
I think so.
And Gargiulo, let's make sure.
So he's got him on the phone here.
The way that it came prior to our dump.
And I don't hide from people, and I always tell the truth.
That's a liar.
I am never going to be a guy to run from you. You call me, I'll take your phone call.
So here's what happened just now. I have it on Facebook.
You just kept on playing this over and over and over again. I thought it was the greatest bit ever. It was awesome.
Well, most radio personalities don't have the liberties I've always had. Once I got to be, kind of well established and garner great ratings, I could arrogantly, I say, kind of march to the beat of my own drum. Where, most radio personalities, it would be absolutely, you'd be fired immediately if you put your competition, on. And I thrived on going against the grain. So, I'd usually just call my competition, and then I would really make them look stupid because they couldn't put me on their air, but I could put them on my air.
That's awesome.
And I was secure enough to know that my people aren't going to go check them out.
Yeah.
So, it really kind of made them look stupid, and they really couldn't do anything about it. And that's the name of the game, is making your competition look stupid.
All right, Bubba, the phones are blowing up here. Let's take one of these lines. I mean, every single one of my lines are ringing right now. You must have some Bubba Nation folks on here. Let's go ahead. You're live on the air with Bubba the Love Sponge and JoJo.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey,
buddy.
I just wanted to ask Bubba Love Sponge, does he remember burying them two DJs up in Jacksonville?
Lex Terry. We rolled into
shipyard, and I was moving a crane that day, and I had to stop because he had girls out there in long bikinis and a couple of coffins. And
Bubba, don't that kind of sound? It kind of sounds like Ned on the phone.
Well, it kind of does. We did
Jacksonville.
We rolled Jacksonville, and they had these two guys that have been on the air for decades named Lex Terry, and I said, when we beat them, we're going to do a public funeral. So we beat them relatively soon, and then we did a public funeral, and I had strippers, and I had Hulk Hogan and Big Show and a bunch of wrestlers. I flew up privately on a plane. So we had a lot of construction workers like this fella right here probably saw the circus of humanity that we had. We did the funeral and the burial right outside of Lex Terry's studios. So we invited the public to come and things like that. That's just stuff that radio personalities don't do nowadays. But yeah, buddy, I really appreciate you listening back then, and I appreciate you listening to Boss Hog Radio and my buddy Joe. I appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, we got another caller. Go ahead. You're live on the air with Bubba the Love Sponge.
Hi, this is Christy. I called a few minutes ago. I just wanted to ask Bubba the Love Sponge if he remembers my good friend Michelle, the school bus driver.
Oh, yeah. We probably can't get into details about that. But
Yeah, because she was my very good friend, so I know all them little escapades y'all had. I just wondered if you remembered her.
I'll tell you right now, man, she was hot, and she knew her way around various parts of the body.
Yeah. How about that for a blast from the past?
Yeah, that really, I'm going to be honest with you, man, that put a hell of a smile on my face right now those times.
Well, I'm very happy to oblige.
All right. Hey, thank you for calling.
And I appreciate listening to Joe's show on Boss Hog Radio. I appreciate that.
Hey. Yeah, thank you for calling in. Lines are open. We can maybe take a couple more calls, maybe 863-225-2000, 863-225-2000. Phones were just like every single line was lit up here just a second ago. But man, so now tell them what you're doing right now, and how they can listen to your show, and the best way to do that.
Facebook, and so you can just go to Facebook and type in, at the Bubba Army, and that is pretty much across all platforms, no matter what you have: Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok, Twitter. Everything, Instagram. So it's all, everything we got is uniformly at the Bubba Army, and you'll find us. We also have a huge global website called Bubba Army HQ, and that has all of our archives back from, dating back from Michelle, the school bus driver, to, all my Power Pig stuff and 98 Rock stuff, and when I worked for Howard Stern. So that's kind of one-stop shopping, Bubba Army HQ. But you can always find us on Facebook and YouTube and everything else digitally at the Bubba Army. There's the YouTube thing is our YouTube and our Facebook is really, really, really doing well, and that's probably the slickest and easiest way for people at Boss Hog Radio to check me out. But Joe, I appreciate a lot of people. Like if the expression, if you don't ask, then you'll never get whatever you potentially may want. And so Joe sent me an email and said. And I really have an affection for people that continue to do the lost art of good radio, and that's something that Joe does on Boss Hog Radio. And he probably maybe thought he'd never get me to.
No, I didn't. Hey, I was shocked. I was shocked when I got a response from you, and I thought, well, I wonder if this is for real. And then yesterday, I reached out to you again, and you sent me an email saying, yeah, I'm going to be there. And you called very promptly. You're on the line, and I've reached out to a lot of people here on my show, and I'm a smaller show. I'm not as big a name as Bubba, obviously. I got out of radio that's why I got out of radio, and I went into law enforcement. I've been doing that for years, and so this is my first love was radio, and now I'm back in it. I've been doing it here for over a year, like a year and 3 months or so. I've been back in radio, and I've been having a blast. And I wanted to reach out to people and get back in this business. And I started reaching out to some people, and you'd be surprised the people you reach. Some of them call you back. Some of them don't. Here's another. Let's take. Can you take one more call?
Yeah, but whatever you need, Joe. Whatever you need, buddy.
All right. We'll put you on the air here. Hang on. Oh my God. Now it's going crazy again. You're on the air live with Bubba the Love Sponge on the JoJo Show. What's going on?
Hey, it's Winter Haven Cliff.
Winter Haven.
How are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Winter Haven Cliff. You're on live with Bubba the Love Sponge.
Awesome. Hey, Bubba. Longtime fan, man. I used to listen to you on Power Pig all the time. Loved it back then.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank
you, buddy.
Well, we appreciate you calling in. Cliff. Thank you. We have another caller. You're live on the air with Bubba the Love Sponge on the JoJo Show.
Hey, JoJo. Hey, Bubba, man, I wanted to tell you, thanks for showing up on this, because I'm that guy, Al. I don't know how long you've been listening to Boss Hog, but I've been about 9 months, and exactly what you said is what happened. I called JoJo one day after Fester had suggested that someone could sit in one of these chairs, and I said, JoJo, should I do it? And he says, do it. And now for 9 months, I've been doing just this. And now you're on my radio, man. I am telling you how much fun I am having. I'm a bartender, man. I bartended for 40 years at Disney. And now I'm sitting in that chair 9 months, and I feel like I got control of the helm. I'm just having so much fun.
Well, and that's really
It is amazing.
That's a real testament to that's a testament to the programmers and the owners of Boss Hog Radio that let guys like you and JoJo, who have a special affection for the art of radio and still know how to do it, old school, if you will. And the Boss Hog Radio is awesome. No rap, no crap, and it just plays. I was listening to the Cars, before when I was on hold, and music that kind of us rugged dudes grew up with, and so. I appreciate the owners, because radio's gotten so corporate and so cookie cutter. The big, the Cox and the iHearts and the Cumuluses, and there's not a lot of room left for what people are doing at Boss Hog Radio, and for the most part, there's not a lot of room left for guys like you and JoJo to come in and do a weekend show. The big corporations don't allow that.
No, so they don't.
This is a kind of a necessary space, and it's a refreshing space that people that own Boss Hog and program Boss Hog Radio give kick-ass guys like you, Cliff, and Joe an opportunity to spread their wings a little bit and have some fun on terrestrial radio. So good luck to you on your show, my friend.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for calling in, and I was going to make sure that everyone tunes in. Is it your documentary? Video Killed the Radio Star. Is that just something you were in or part of, or is that kind of your doc on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really it's a doc about my situation.
Okay.
I don't have any ownership. I don't have any ownership in it, but it's all about kind of clearing up everybody's misconception of the Hulk Hogan sex tape. I did participate in it. Yes, I do have some onus of what happened, but there's a really big screw job that happened to me. It pretty much kind of blackballed me out of the industry because of, Mike Calta. Mike Calta is the one that brokered the tape that had it stolen from my office.
That's crazy.
At the end of the day, used it to get me fired, and he took my morning position at 102.5 The Bone, and for 11 or 12 years now has continued to benefit from it, and nobody ever held his feet to the fire. The police never, FBI did a sting, and they proved who stole it. And because I was the victim, and I don't play a very good victim, everybody got away scot-free. So Video Killed the Radio Star, which is available on Apple TV or Amazon Prime, kind of walks people through the chain of custody as to how all that went down. And it's got some Donald Trump ties too.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
There are people, but in a kind of a good way with regards to how the various agencies, the FBI and what have you, use that tape to broker, trying to take a shot at our president. And it'll really open your eyes up to the other side of the story that the media refuses to report.
All right. Well, anyway, that's available for you if you want to watch it. I've watched it. It's very interesting, and I almost felt like kind of weird watching it. I felt like I was getting kind of deep into your personal life, and it feels really personal. I'm like, I almost kind of felt weird watching it. That's a very personal part of your life.
It gives you a perspective that the media refuses to report, because again, I don't play a very good victim. I've always played the outspoken, loudmouth bad guy on the radio, and that prosecutors and federal authorities don't tend to give that guy a break. So, hey, listen, I've made my bed and I have to lie in it. I'm making a really good living right now. I'm living my best life that I can. I'm probably going to be in radio another 5 to 7 years, and then I'll be done. And But I'm very blessed. As much of all the stuff that I've overcome, I'm still very blessed to get up every day and have the opportunity to talk to millions of people, via my various platforms.
That's awesome. Last question. Todd Clem, Bubba The Love Sponge. Same person, or is it kind of more of just the radio vibe, the radio gimmick?
It's a great question, by the way, but it's kind of a hybrid.
Okay.
It's kind of a hybrid in the fact that, there's a lot of Todd Clem and Bubba, and there's a lot of Bubba and Todd Clem. So, like right now, as a matter of fact, I had to go. I'm with my mother today. She lives about 25 minutes from me. So, that's Bubba Clem. And I did change out a couple light bulbs for her. Took her down to Culver's. We're having lunch, and so that's kind of more Bubba Clem. And then Monday at 6 a.m. when I'm behind the microphone and I got to editorialize about various things that's happening in the news or the various drama that's happening, then that's Bubba the Love Sponge. So it's kind of a hybrid, I would say. But, I changed my name legally to Bubba the Love Sponge Clem when I was running for sheriff of Pinellas County back in 2000 because I wanted that name specifically to be on the ballot. So, I don't know if it was a stupid move or not, but my real name is Bubba the Love Sponge Clem. It's on my driver's license, on my car registration. But it's kind of a hybrid, to answer your question. I kind of incorporate my real personality with my radio personality and pick and choose when to play that spot.
Right. Well, hey, man, I know you're busy and you're out with family. I just want to once again thank you for calling me back. It means a lot to me. Once again, please, if you ever get a chance, you got my number. I would love, that would be a dream of me to go see the studio, kind of hang out with you in the studio to see how the real pros do it. So thank you so much for calling me back. It has truly been a blessing for me, and I wish you the best in your continued career.
Hey, let's keep in touch, Joe. And yes, absolutely, on the studio tour, and maybe we can run down Michelle, the school bus driver.
Hey, there you go. Thank you so much. Y'all, you've been talking to the Bubba the Love Sponge on Boss Hog Radio. Thank you, sir. All right, there you go. ZZ Top now.